My name is Megan Kellner, and I am the Indoor Education Manager here at Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park. And I am standing in our beautiful Arid Garden, where today we are going to be scientists. Now, scientists are very good observers. They look really closely and carefully at things in nature to learn more about the things that they're seeing. So I'm going to do that today by writing some of my observations and making some drawings in my field journal here. But you can do the same thing at home. So when we're done exploring together today, you can find a notebook or a sketchbook and go out and look at some of the things in your yard, or even just look right around your house or your apartment for some of the plants so that you can discover some observations about things that you see near your home. Now, today we're standing in a really cool biome. A biome is a large area where plants and animals have a lot of really similar needs. So let's just look carefully and see if we can observe anything interesting here. Okay. So I'm noticing that a lot of the plants in this room have things that are sharp. Lots of points or spines, like on this saguaro cactus here. And I'm seeing too that not all of the spines are the same. Like some of these spines are really long and sharp looking, but some are shorter, and some are even curved. Like this little cactus over here has some curved spines. That's something I'm definitely seeing a lot in this room. So I'm going to write that observation down. I'm going to write spines. Okay, spines. I'm also noticing that there are a lot of plants that have something light colored or even fuzzy on top of them, like this plant right here. See that kind of white or fuzzy looking, it almost looks kind of like hair? Boy, that is really different. If I think about the plants that I see outside near my home in Michigan, I can't think of too many plants that have something that looks like hair. So I'm going to write that down. That seems unique. So I'm going to write down hair. Okay. The other thing that's interesting to me is a lot of these plants have really different leaves. So the leaves that I see near my house in Michigan are usually more thin, or they look kind of fragile, but some of these plants have really thick leaves. Really thick leaves. And some even look like they have kind of a whitish or a waxy coating on the surface. Okay, that's really interesting. That seems something that's unique. So I'm going to write that down too. I'm going to write thick leaves. Oop. Okay. There's one more thing that I think I see on a lot of the plants in here that's really cool. If we look back at that saguaro again, can you see how there are like ridges or bumps? How it kind of goes in and out like ridges or pleats? Maybe it's hard to see through some of the spines. I definitely see some ridges. I'm not sure how exactly to describe that, so I think I'm going to draw it in my field journal instead. While I'm doing my drawing though, I challenge you to look out your window or just think about the plants that you have near your house and think about, are they the same or different than some of the plants that you're seeing here in Michigan? So do a little observing or a little bit of thinking about the plants that are near you, and think, are they the same or different than some of the plants here in our Arid Garden? And if you make an observation, be sure to share it in the comments. Okay, I'm going to make my sketch. So I'm noticing that my cactus has kind of a big, long shape like this. And it has lots and lots and lots of little spikes. All of those spines. And lots of those ridges that go up and down the stem. Okay. Nice. My drawing doesn't have to be perfect. But that's pretty good. That gives me an idea of some of the things that I was seeing so that I can remember them later and think a little bit more about why that plant might have those cool features. Did anybody think of any ways that the plants in here might be the same or different than some of the plants that are near their home?
Melanie said that they could see the ridges.
Oh, you can see the ridges, yeah. The ridges are really cool and really unique, right? If I think about the plants that are near my home in Michigan, I can't think of too many plants that have ridges like that in their stem. So the biome that we're standing in, or that the plants from this area are from, is a desert biome. And deserts get only a very small amount of rain. In fact, deserts only get about 10 inches or less of rain per year. So by comparison, here in Michigan, where I'm standing right now, we might get 30 to 40 inches of rain per year, so a lot more. So plants in a desert environment are going to have special adaptations that help them to survive in a place that gets very, very little water and lots of sunshine. So an adaptation is a characteristic or a behavior that helps a living thing to survive in its own unique environment. So we're going to look again at some of the things we found and see if we can decide what some of those adaptations might do to help these plants survive in the desert. Okay, so we said a lot of plants have spines. What might be a good reason for a plant in the desert to have spines? Boy, if I were to touch one of those cactuses, I think it would hurt a lot. Spines can help protect a plant, right, from animals or even people that might want to eat it. So that's a good way for them to protect that water that they're storing. And we said there's lots of different spines. If we look at this white fuzzy plant again, remember we said we saw some stuff that looked kind of like hair? That's actually another kind of spine. So that white fluffy stuff that looks like hair is actually a spine, and it's protecting the plant too. So if a desert is a place that's really sunny, that plant might need to protect itself from sun, just like me wearing my hat. So a lot of the plants in this room have some kind of a covering that helps to protect them from the sun and help to shade that plant a little bit. So that's part of what that white, it looks like hairs, but they're actually spines, are helping that plant to do. And we also talked about those thick, waxy leaves, right? So those thick leaves are going to help that plant to store water too. So in the desert, you might see plants that have really thick leaves that help them store water. And they might even have that waxy coating that works a little bit like if I were to put chapstick on my lips on a sunny day. It's going to help to seal that moisture into that plant. And some plants even have a way to expand to take on more water when there is water. So that saguaro cactus that we talked about that has those ridges, when it rains, that saguaro is actually able to expand to take on more water that it can save for later in this desert environment that doesn't get a whole lot of rain. Okay, so we've learned that plants in the desert have a lot of really cool adaptations that help them to survive in their unique biome. Things like spines, both those big pokey spines, but also those white kind of fuzzy looking spines too. Things like thick and waxy leaves, or pleats that help that plant to expand and absorb a little bit more water. And these plants may be really different than the plants that you have in your backyard because you might live in a totally different biome. So in Michigan, we live in a temperate deciduous biome. So plants here get plenty of water, but they have a different challenge. They have to think about how they're going to survive a long, cold winter. So plants in Michigan are going to have a different set of adaptations to deal with that different set of challenges. So I'm going to do a little bit more sketching and exploring here. But I challenge you scientists at home to find yourself a field journal and make your way out into your backyard, or even just look out your windows or at the plants in your apartment and think about, what do you see? What are the textures and colors and shapes? What do the branches and the leaves look like? How could some of those things be adaptations to help that plant survive in the environment where it's from? So if you make some observations or some sketches, be sure to share them with us in the comments so that we can see them too. And the next time that you come to Meyer Gardens, I hope that you take a really close look at the plants in our Arid Garden, which are really incredible. And be sure to tune in with us again at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock for our virtual visits. Okay? You guys have a good day. I'm going to keep doing some sketching.